Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 38. The Past Shows the Future. Hiccup awoke to unfamiliar chittering. He wiped his eyes and saw an orange terror sitting on a ledge on the opening he had fashioned, so Toothless and Sharpshot could come and go if they needed during the night. The terror bowed as best it could. Hiccup sat up. "Come in," he said. The terror chirped and hopped down onto the floor. He bowed again. "Forgive the intrusion, Alpha," it said, and Hiccup recognized it as one of the males from the new flock to join the nest. "But the female you had watching the human younglings said to come and get you. The human is awake, and your human elder is looking her over." "Thank you," Hiccup said, reaching for his metal leg. The orange terror bowed again, but did not leave. He instead watched as Hiccup fastened the leg and put Toothless's saddle and tail thing on. "You both match," the terror said softly. Hiccup smiled, pausing and making sure each line and buckle on Toothless's saddle and tail fin was secure, and not pinching the dragon. He ran his fingers across the top of Toothless's head and then scratched just behind Sharpshot's horns. "We're brothers," Hiccup said, looking at the orange terror. The terror chuffed and gestured to the tail thing with a wingtip. "That allows you to fly, Windshrieker." "Yes," Toothless answered. "My brother has to operate it so we can both fly." Toothless nudged Sharpshot. "Course, now, our little brother joins us too." The terror tilted his head. "I have heard other dragons speak of the wonders our Alpha can make." "Forgive my curiosity, but why not make a tail fin so that you do not have to operate, Alpha?" Toothless froze and looked at Hiccup. He looked back at the terror. "I would rather have no wings and no flame than have a tail my brother does not operate." Hiccup's eyes widened as both Sharpshot and the orange terror jerked, flaring their wings, chittering loudly. "Toothless?" he asked, knowing what his dragon brother said was serious, but not quite understanding it fully. "Brother Alpha, he would rather never fly again, and have no means to defend himself, ever, than not have you in the wind with us," Sharpshot whispered. Hiccup stared at Toothless. The Night Fury curled his head, laying the top of it against Hiccup's chest. "I meant every word, brother," he whispered. "If you can't be up there with Sharpshot and I don't want to be up there either." Hiccup held Toothless closer. Sharpshot cooed and hopped onto Toothless's back, rubbing his head against Toothless and Hiccup. The orange terror remained silent for a moment, then chirped. "I'm not sure I understand fully," he said softly. "I have not had pleasant experiences with humans." Hiccup frowned. "Let's go see about the girl," he said. "Would you like to fly with us? I would like to speak with you about the humans you encountered, if I may." "You are Alpha," the terror said, flaring his wings and hopping onto the ledge of the opening once more. "You can ask me anything." Hiccup shook his head. "I would never ask you something you do not wish to give. If you wish your past to never be spoken about, I will not pry." The terror chuffed. Hiccup smiled. "Toothless, may he ride with us?" Hiccup asked, looking down at Toothless. "If he wishes." The terror blinked. "I will ride and answer your questions, Alpha. You have intrigued me. My last flock leader did not protect the flock, and in general demanded we give him tribute all the time. You have done nothing he did all my life." Hiccup tilted his head. "Come on, we're going out the front door." With that, he walked down the stairs. Toothless hopped onto the rafters and jumped down. The Sharpshot snorted and glided down. The terror chirped before following. Once outside, Hiccup mounted Toothless. Sharpshot crawled up onto Hiccup's back. Hiccup glanced at the terror and patted the saddle in front of him. "You can ride here. We can talk on the way." The terror blinked, but hopped on. Hiccup smiled and held his hand out, but turned his gaze. The terror chirped, and Hiccup felt the warm scales press into his palm. He turned back and smiled again. "You always give the dragons the option to touch you or not touch you?" The terror asked as Toothless bounced into the air and banked for Flammer's farm. "If a dragon is hurt to a point it cannot respond to the gesture, I'll forego it until the dragon is awake and better," Hiccup said. "But if they can respond, I will always give them the option. I'm never going to force something onto them. They had too much of that with the Red Death. Hiccup chirped, and it sounded like a question. Toothless warbled. The Terror chittered. The monster in the fog. The Terror whispered. That's what most of those not in the nest knew her as. She was the reason my flock leader was the way he was. He felt that if she could do it, so could he. I left as soon as I could fly. Hiccup sighed. The Squadron we met yesterday said there were good and bad dragons, just as there were good and bad humans. I know the Red Death was a monster. I'm sorry you had to endure a flock leader who thought he could act like her. You apologise for something that was not your doing? I dislike you had to live with such a flock leader. At fault or not, I can still express sorrow that you had to live such a life. Toothless warbled something that had the Terror tilting his head. Your brother said you lived a life that harmed you. Hiccup sighed. Until I met Toothless, I was... well, some of the humans called me useless. The Terror blinked. This was not a jest between nestmates? No, they actually thought of me as useless, and a nuisance that would kill the entire tribe. Others didn't care one way or the other, as long as I remained out of their sight and did not bother them. Toothless warbled again, something else, and the Terror hissed softly. Your father said you were the worst? I see Toothless is in a talkative mood. Hiccup said dryly, Brother, you have forgiven your father, but that does not erase what he did. If the Tiny Fang is to understand why you feel sorrow over his life, he has to know you have lived one that should not have been lived as well. Hiccup grunted. It's in the past now, Toothless. The Terror chirped. My old flock's elders said the past has a way of showing the future, and it's the past that teaches us, so we can stay on an even wind. To forget what has come before is to lose the current we follow now. I can never forget it, Hiccup whispered softly, but I can't let the past keep me from moving forward. You are like no human I have ever encountered. Small ones would wish to hold me and wrap rough brown vines around my neck. Medium-sized ones threw rocks at me. Bigger ones try to kill me. I'm beginning to see why this nest is the way it is. I am glad I followed that flock here. Hiccup smiled and scratched the top of the Terror's head. No one will ever try to tie you up, throw rocks at you, or kill you here. Not if I can help it. If someone does harm you, or tries to harm you, let me know. I will stop them, and they will be punished. Thank you, Alpha. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I just like that one. I like that Terror. I think he becomes known as Iggy later, but I might be wrong. That might be a different Terror. But anyway, I like that Hiccup's, again, showing his mercy and showing his way to empathise and relate to others. It's so heartwarming. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.